This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas.
Welcome to Behind the Scenes, for your half-assed entertainment news with no bullshit, with our hosts, the Baroness and Bear Fiorda, only on Talk 4 Media.
Welcome to Behind the Scenes. I'm the Baroness, and we are on with my co-host, the hairiest bear in the cage, Bear Fiorda.
Thank you.
So we are talking about a lot going on, but I want to begin with Sharon Stone's son swears he made it on his own with absolutely no nepotism, even though he is now the head of a studio group.
Who's Sharon Stone?
Sharon Stone's a super famous actress from the 80s smoke show.
Who's her son?
Some dude.
All right. I don't know these people, but no one ever makes it alone in any industry. It doesn't
Well,
matter who
his
you are.
argument was I worked hard. No shade. I'm sure you did. And there was no nepotism.
Sorry. No, zero nepotism is the problem. Like that's 100% not. That's what I'm saying.
Of course there's
always
nepotism.
Everyone knows there's nepotism in every industry. If you have a son,
his name is Roan Joseph Bronstein.
Roan Joseph. Oh, Roan Joseph. So you know, if you ever listen to the show,
He's now the CEO of Cahuenga Media Group. Says he hasn't used his mother's fame to advance his career, emphasizing his level of hard work and independence. No nepotism.
No, it's not true. Every industry has nepotism. Why? If you're a parent, you succeed somewhere, you want your child to succeed as well. So why not give them a way in?
It's your mother's Sharon Stone. Even if you didn't tell people, everybody knows that. And I actually played Sharon Stone years ago in a film.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, I've got the cold cutting mean girl thing. It's very easy. No, Sharon Stone really is lovely. She's a phenomenal actress. But to assume that you have no nepotism, that's not how anything works.
You have nepotism when your parent is that famous. You have nepotism no matter what. That is just the case. People are going to know who child you are and then want to help you because in turn your name can push whatever they're doing.
That's it.
Speaking of this kind of stuff, Jackie Chan reportedly is giving all of his assets away to charity and leaving none to his child, and says that if he was going to be successful, he would have done it without my money. So for him to have it, I don't want to handicap him.
Yeah, he has an issue because his son is gay. There's a whole thing.
Oh, wow,
so it's like a whole homophobic thing. So check into Jackie Chan. Give me your opinions. There's issues with infidelity, going over the child rules.
Yeah.
There's issues with not recognizing a child. And I have no problem with what he's saying. Builds your fortune. My earring keeps. By the way, shout out. Snuggie Bear got me some really pretty diamonds.
That's what good guys do.
But
buy their women jewelry.
That's what guys that can afford it do.
But don't make it about money. If you,
I'm simply
doesn't matter
saying,
how much you make, you can always get your partner something nice.
You know what? That's very true. It is about the gift, not necessarily what it is. That being said, if you bought me a bottle of Snapple on a hot day, I'd be grateful.
There you go.
And I don't like Snapple.
I know what to get you today.
I don't like Snapple. The reality is, though, in Jackie Chan's case, there's issues with homophobia. There is issues with infidelity. There are a lot of issues there. As far as not leaving money to his child, that is his right. It's his money. You know, I have wealthy family members that if they don't leave anything for me, they built it themselves. I cannot complain. It is their life. I've built my money myself. They've built their money themselves. Why complain?
It's definitely his right, but I agree with the general public when they say that he built this success. Why not share it with your child?
Why not put a foundation together in your name and help many more people?
Yeah.
The reality is because I was exposed to people with money, I'm better at making money. If you're only exposed to people who blame others and are poor, you will grow up, blame others, and be poor. If you're exposed to people with money, you learn to do well. You run a children's nonprofit, but your mother was an accountant. So you are quite conscientious with money. You always have a savings account. You always have things going on.
Right.
Your concern is, CDs, things like that. That's a very different simply because you have a mother in accounting. If you weren't exposed to that, look at a lot of guys in your industry. They take the bag and bolt.
No, I definitely understand that. I think just my perspective is even if raise the money or not, he built this legacy, he built this amount of money or whatever, and he doesn't want to give it to charity, right? That's his goal. I just don't think your son should be left out of it. And maybe that I don't know. Maybe that's because I'm not at Jackie Chan's age yet.
Maybe that's because you're not homophobic.
Well, that's just it. The additional prejudices that I'm learning about right now, I never knew was homophobic.
Super. And then he doesn't acknowledge one of the kids. Now, I don't know if it's the gay kid he doesn't acknowledge or the straight kid, but there's a whole thing to it. If you get a chance, it really comes down to this. Jackie Chan has done some amazing things. He's not necessarily a good dude. He's a talented dude, but he's not necessarily a good dude. That being said, I have no qualms. I'd work with him. I think he's incredibly talented and incredibly smart.
I think that's one of the things they tell you is don't meet your idols because they're still just people, and people are imperfect. They're flawed just like everyone else is, and that's going to bother you when you meet them.
So Fabian Edwards gets the PFL crown because of a head kick. UFC.
Congrats to Fabian Edwards. When do you have MMA news lined up?
I lined it up. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you.
And then we just had a huge fight in the UFC that everyone's super upset about, which was some guy wiggling around on the floor with some other guy.
Yeah, well, it was a lot more wiggling. It was the contender Hamzat Chimaev versus the champion Dricus du Plessis, and everyone expected a brawl in which DDP, the champ, would show off his ability to hang in there with this high-level wrestler, and he would prove that he deserves the belt. And instead, he was forced to lay on the floor for 23 out of 25 minutes.
They did call it violent snuggling.
It was very violent snuggling.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Nobody liked that fight.
No, it was not. It will not be looked on pleasurably in the history of the mixed martial arts world.
And then they're talking about Zoe Kravitz's new relationship. I think what catches me about Zoe Kravitz, isn't she the chick that was accused of being a going after an underage Jaden Smith?
I don't know who Zoe Kravitz is.
Zoe Kravitz is Lenny Kravitz and Lisa Bonet's daughter. She is Aquaman's stepdaughter. Super good actress, no question. She played Catwoman opposite.
Wait, she's Aquaman's stepdaughter. So Jason Momoa's stepdaughter is this chick. How old is she?
She's probably 25, 30.
Okay, yeah.
Lisa Bonet had her young with Lenny Kravitz. It's Jason Momoa's stepdaughter. Well, the big controversy there is obviously she's a Nepo baby. No shade. She did a good job when she played Catwoman next to Robert Pattinson, but apparently she was after a very underage Jaden Smith.
I was just thinking right now because Jaden is 20, early 20s, I believe, maybe a little bit.
When he was underage. She was
no. I hear what you're saying, but when you said it, my brain's like, Jason Momoa is not that old of a guy. How old is this? Like, are people really blowing this up?
Oh no.
Is it a 17 and 16-year-old situation, or is it genuinely like
You'll
predatory? Because I don't know. I'm just curious.
You'll tell me.
Yeah, you have to let us know. That's going to be the big thing. Still though, I do believe that adults in no way, shape, or form should be going after kids, and kids, no matter what age you feel like you have consent or they believe that you can't give consent, should not. And I know there's some states where it's like legal. There's some countries where it's legal down to a certain age. I just personally, I think 18 should be the limit everywhere.
Well, that's the issue with like Prince Andrew. So he had the issue. There was a great book that came out about him. If you guys get a chance, read it.
Not the Epstein files.
No.
But
he's in those too. No, he's in those along with a couple of American presidents.
Yeah.
But the reality is, in this case with Prince Andrew, it talks about him losing his virginity when he was like 11. That's not losing your virginity. That's assault. And he talked about all these different things. But the biggest thing was he didn't understand why everyone was upset about this 17-year-old girl because she was legal where he comes from. And he doesn't understand the issue with the age difference. I think that really it comes down to he tried to defend himself by saying he has a medical condition that stops him from sweating.
What does that have to do with apples? Like, what does that have to do with anything?
She tried to say that he sweated all over her.
Oh. Yeah, medical condition that stops you from sweating. I'd love for him to repeat that name back to me now.
He did it. He said this in like a 60 Minutes interview. I don't know who put him in the 60 Minutes interview, but he should fire them. And whoever wrote his answers should also be fired.
And just get rid of your whole team, man.
This was terrible. Now, the Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson, does seem to be sliding back into the royal folds. Prince
Yeah, I
Charles
saw
is
a little
having
bit
her
about
back in.
that.
Shout out to her. Clever idea, by the way. Keep her close so she doesn't make money off stories about you. But in any case, the reality is Andrew is problematic.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone knows that. The crown knows that.
That's why I kept him away for so long.
Him and the Duke of Sussex seem to be the biggest liabilities to the monarchy. And as a monarchist myself, I really don't like that.
No, I'm not as big into the monarchy as you are, obviously. I don't know a lot about the history. I'm not from the UK or in any way associated with the UK. But I will say this. If you're out and about and you're talking a lot of trash about your family, when generally they're doing things that make people happy on a grand scale and have a lot of charities and they've been a figure, a staple of the community, you're probably more of the asshole in that situation.
What do you mean, probably?
I know you're deeply against him already, and mainly because of the woman.
I'm deeply disappointed in his behavior.
Well, I don't think it's all him. I really believe that Meghan Markle has, for years now, been twisting his mind and forcing him to become the very thing he swore to destroy. It's
I look at it this way.
really
If you
not a
are
Star Wars
weak,
thing
if
from you.
you are weak enough to allow the dark side
There we go. All right, thank
to
you.
take you over, that is on you.
I don't know. Pussy is very convincing.
I'd like to remind everyone every time we use bad language on this show, we give money to the Boys and Girls Club of America, the Humane Society of America, and free MMA. We swear because we can.
My apologies. Vagina can be very convincing.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm just simply saying you wouldn't give up your life or livelihood for it.
No. But I think slowly someone weaseling their way in
I will
there.
never, ever, ever be intimate with you again unless you give up fighting forever.
That's the exact opposite of what you would say. So I know you too well to fall for your
I'm just saying, if that was the
lies and
deal,
deception.
that was the deal. You have to give up martial arts or I never sleep with you again.
It's okay. We'll just not be together, I guess.
That's the point.
But I don't think it started out like that. Because she did spend a few years in the monarchy.
She didn't. She spent less than 2. Including the time they were dating, she actually had him out of there in like 18 months. Really, she had the shortest stint of a royal of anyone in the history ever.
So then within 18 months, it didn't just start out with, hey, I'm never going to sleep with you again if you stay with your family. It's the process where they kind of just weasel their way in, take over your life, convince you your family is against you, your friends are against you. And then they get you to move out and leave with them. And now you're just kind of stuck, which I think is what he is right now. He's just stuck. Where else is he going to go?
He reminds me of the Duke of Windsor, the guy that left the monarchy for Wallace Simpson.
Thank God he wasn't lined up to be king, huh?
He was king.
No, Perry, sorry.
Oh, yes. He reminds me of the Duke of Windsor. Realistically, the problem is if you give full control of your life to a woman or a man, you lose control of it yourself. He was so enamored of Wallace Simpson that he made a deal with Adolf Humperdinck to take over England and murder his brother and niece, our Queen Elizabeth. Mm-hmm. To get the throne back and put Wallace on as queen.
They have written correspondence of that.
Mm-hmm. So he literally planned to do that. He actually encouraged them to continue the bombing of the United Kingdom and said eventually they'll fold. Now, hats off to the Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. She gave one of the most touching speeches, and it's consistently quoted, which is, they wanted all the children were being taken out of London. And she said, the children will not leave London unless I leave London. I will not leave London unless His Majesty leaves London, the King. And the King will leave London under no circumstance.
He was actually standing atop a balcony as German planes were dropping bombs around him. He refused to leave.
Yep. And that was a nonstop. And so it was interesting. It made them highly popular royals because they themselves were being bombed and refused to leave. So it was a dangerous idea, but
and then we tie that
effective.
Back to what we have today with Harry and Meghan, and just you know what's worse too is they were both American women.
Yes,
not making us look super great, but at the end of the day, we still won the war. So
Americans, I think, yes, but now you've lost the international trade war, and America's gone from being the biggest global power in the world and the G7 has been pushed out by BRICS. So realistically, America has now lost its market share to China, and the tariffs you guys have put on have just made it worse.
I'm sorry.
China is now the biggest
You said the energy was being pushed by BRICS?
Yes. So essentially, BRICS is Asia's response to the G7.
Got it.
And
Okay.
so that is now more powerful. And Russia was real smart. They went, if America doesn't mess with us, we'll mess with BRICS. And America refused to join. And it's not one president. I think Biden was an idiot. I think Trump's an idiot. Neither of them signed with BRICS. They should have.
We don't have presidents we can be happy with.
No,
We have presidents that we
unfortunately,
just are
tolerate.
grateful weren't as worse as the other option.
Realistically, people that are best suited for power are never the people that run. I've never seen somebody get into power that should be in power.
Who's it? I would say probably George Washington. He was not terrible guy in general. Don't get me wrong. Terrible guy.
Why? He had teeth
His
ripped out of slaves' heads to make his dentures.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that.
Bad
But I
dude.
think as far as the power goes, he did not want to remain in power. He did not want to be a king. And so
He
I
got
think he was
bored,
probably one of
got rich, and moved on.
but that wasn't his reasoning for it. His reasoning was, we don't need a king. I just spent all these years fighting against a king. We need to have a republic. We need to have a democracy. So we're going to have our presidents and we're going to have democratic voting, which ultimately was never very democratic because of the whole electoral college. But
Yeah, you guys are pretty dumb on that one.
we needed it at the time.
You didn't.
know,
it was
we
a,
did.
it was a consolation. No, you didn't. It was a consolation for the South because it didn't have as many people as the North. Good God, don't they teach you guys history?
No. We had the electoral college because at the time it was ridiculous to get someone who can effectively count everybody's vote from across the
No,
states.
that is like when people turn around and go, it wasn't about slavery, it was about states' rights. States' rights to do what? Yes, the electoral college was always about giving the South more control so they would capitulate. That is literally what it was about.
The South
Go look up
wasn't
the
even
history.
like a thing though at that time.
Yes, it was.
I'm gonna look it up.
You should.
I'm gonna look it up, and we will resume this discussion later.
There's no resuming. Really, America, fix your
when I
education
have
system.
all my evidence compiled, and I have my notes and counterpoints.
Do you want to tell them next week how you failed to win an argument with me again? It happens every week.
You maybe next week I'll be like, hey, I presented information and I won. It's not about winning though; it's about learning. You know.
No, it's always
We're
about
growing
winning,
together.
and you have yet to do that ever one time in a philosophical or historical argument because you literally had phenomenal grades, were in AP classes, went to university, and you still do not have the education level we give in
Hold on,
high school.
Hold on. I did not go to university. I
Oh,
took college accredited classes.
Fine,
But I did not step into a building.
That's fine. You still do not have the same education level that we give in high school.
I
and
will
I
say
see
the
that with
American
the children
education
we
system's
foster.
not super.
Yes, but don't worry, y'all are giving tax breaks.
You know, speaking of things that are
To
not
me, you are giving tax breaks to me.
speaking
no
of things
education.
that are not super. In the recent, this is going to be about our guest, though I don't believe our guest is with us just yet. In recent time, we've had a lot of influencer versus company kind of problems popping up. You know, we did have a lady in San Francisco who was invited to a very popular restaurant. She had like 15,000 followers across everything.
This is not our guest for today.
not our
Today
guest for
we have
today.
a legit influencer with a blog, but we'll get into that.
Yes, and they invited her out. The owner or manager did not realize who she was or her following until after she arrived to commit to the arrangement. And then he just shat on her for like 20, 30 minutes till she left. I think she ended up paying the tab anyways or whatever. And then she got up and left and made a whole video about them. And now that restaurant is canceled.
Good.
And so I guess the question I want to ask you is, how do you think people should be approaching these deals when they're starting to get a following, they're looking to have some collaborations?
All right. I'm going to be very direct. I make a lot of money off of doing this. I work with a lot of influencers. I work with a lot of, celebrities. I work with a lot of cage fighters. I think you, need to be direct. And a lot of misconceptions come from a lack of directness and the assumption that people understand what's going on. I think you have to be very, very direct. One of the things I've run into, we do product placement in the TV shows that I make. And I've had people, product placement is embedded advertising for products or companies in the shows. And I've had people be very surprised that they had to pay to be put in a show. So I think you need to be.
What do you mean this isn't free advertising?
Yeah. What do you mean I can't have a celebrity talk about my product for free? So it is very, very difficult. I think there needs to be a lot of explanation. But at the end of the day, if you're direct saying, look, here's what I expect you to do. Here's what I expect me to do. This is what we're going to do in the end.
I have found that even when I do it as someone who's not, I don't really consider myself to be an influencer. I'm a fighter who has a following, but I do still get brand deals. And I find that when I do it, sometimes companies or people who even have worked for me and with me were like kind of on the nose about what the deal is, but they don't want to say it, as if to say exchange of services is a bad phrase. Like, hey, let me advertise your product on my channel in exchange for X amount of money or for X amount of product. It's like a weird taboo where if you say that, it's going to offend the other person and then they won't want to work with you. So it's a lot of roundabout, like, hey, let's do a collab. Let me show off some product.
I just directly say, look, we need giveaways. You have product, send it to us. Hey, I'm happy to push a product, but this is what it's going to cost.
Yeah.
I think when people try and be too gentle about things, it will get lost in translation.
You know what? This is a great, I can tie that to martial arts for you real quick.
Okay.
Politeness ruins technique. If you are too nice to where you're unwilling to do the move on your partner, you will learn it ineffectively or not at all. And I think that's the same way here. Politeness or attempted politeness will ruin your deal. You're trying not to say what it is exactly. They're trying to beat around the bush too, hoping you both get to the right
no, you have to be direct. Now, we did reach out actually to this restaurant for comment. Do you want to read off?
I'll read off.
We've got both sides of the argument here from everyone.
Yeah,
we did reach out to the restaurant for comment. They have not gotten back to us.
Well, let's clarify. This is, like we said earlier, different from the first story I mentioned. The lady who's on the show today, her name is Diane Konstad. When we have her on, she is a social media influencer and blogger who reached out to a company via Instagram to set up a deal like this. And from what we read, she was very direct in saying, this is what I want to do for you guys. Here's what I expect from you. And then the company, in their response, has said,
I don't think she was direct enough. I would have understood it, but if the person had no experience with social media, I don't think they'd have understood.
And that's what I think is happening right here.
Yeah, I think the issue is that she is experienced, they were inexperienced, there was crosswise. When I have conversations with people outside the film industry, it can cause problems.
Yeah.
So do you want to read through what the restaurant said and what she said?
So the restaurant said from their perspective, this woman had reached out and offered to come in and advertise their food in their restaurant in exchange and without
what's the name of the restaurant?
So let me get it real quick. The restaurant name is Pulse. That's why I didn't want to say it because I can't pronounce it.
I know, I can't either.
Pulcinella. If it's
Pulcinella,
or if it's Spanish, Pulcinella.
It's Italian.
Pulcinella. It's either way. It's in New Orleans. Look it up. But anyways, from their perspective, this lady said, "Hey, I just want to show up and advertise your food." That's the gist of what they said they took from it. It's not gonna. They asked, "Okay, do we have to pay you for this?" And she said, "No." Okay, so you just want to show up to our restaurant and buy our food. Great. That sounds great. And you'll make videos about it. Hang
on. Don't say that. There was no discussion of her buying the food. And no, you are absolute. Please read it. You've given the information incorrectly now.
Well, okay, please go ahead.
Go.
I'm sorry.
Please read it.
Let's see. According to Bella, Diane had reached out via Instagram to create content exchange for a visit. And Bella says,
so in exchange for a visit,
for clarification about payment. And Diana responded that no payment is necessary. And that was interpreted as offering free content creation without expectation of compensation.
So that is how she took it. But when you read the first part of that statement, what does it say?
Let's see. Reached out via Instagram to create content in exchange for a visit.
See, and that's the wording. Even the owner is saying she offered content in exchange for a visit.
Right. And it's
so
funny,
if the owner can acknowledge that.
No, that's fine. It's funny because they also apparently offered her a free dessert. Like that was the restaurant's interpretation, or what they claimed was their interpretation of the time.
That's not when somebody is offering you content for a visit. It is to your we work with my uncle who has the ATV place. We give away free ATV rides. Shout out to Off-Road Rentals. If you want a free ride at Off-Road Rentals in Palm Springs, California, write in and give me your perspective on this.
Yeah, and now that I'm reading again, definitely the whole exchange for a visit. If I heard that, my brain would have gone, if I don't know what it is, hey, let me ask about it. Let me infer more about that. What do you mean by exchange for a visit? What does that entail? And maybe that would have been a little more helpful to clear up some trouble that could have occurred. That does concern me, though. What would she possibly have thought in exchange for a visit meant?
That's the thing. And that is the issue we are having, is if to me you say something's in exchange for a
Mhm.
visit, that's what it is. But now I think she could have been clearer. I think if it was me serving that, I'd say, okay, here is your expectation. Here's my expectation. Here's what I will do. I will
Right.
not put out a positive review. I will not promise a positive review, but I will promise content in exchange for.
Yeah, and I've done that too, where people reach out and I say, "Hey, I will absolutely take your product. I will test it. I will do
But I won't
whatever,
lie.
but I won't lie." So if you send it to me, understand that whatever I say about it's going to be honest. And I think I really wish that was actually across the board.
I agreed, but that has actually stopped people from sending things to Bear because he won't
Yeah.
promise a good review. And that actually enforces that the only people that send him products actually believe in their products. So that's
Right.
been a very easy way to kind of filter through the mess. So for me, if somebody says in exchange for a visit, that to me is very clear. But I work in that industry. So I think the assumption is this woman, the owner, didn't have
Like
the
experience
experience
enough
to understand.
Yeah, that's where I got caught. I think when I first looked over the situation, what happened,
Hence, I was
believed it
like, you need to read this specifically.
They both are in the wrong because they both were not clear with each other. But there was enough information for me as the owner to at least question, can you explain more
What
what's
do you
going
mean by
on?
exchange? Just
Right.
once the word exchange comes in there, what do you mean by exchange?
Because that implies deal. That implies there's something that you're going to benefit out of from me.
Yep.
So what does that mean? So far, it sounds like you're offering me everything and I'm not giving you anything back.
And that's not how life works. No
No.
such thing as a free lunch.
There is no such thing as a free lunch. Everything, the bill always comes
Now,
due.
the argument is the owner started pushing, saying that she tried to leave without tipping. I would like to talk to her about that. I know she's going to be on the show, or she's supposed to. She seems to have some trouble connecting.
Right. So as soon as we have her on, we'll be able to
we'll ask
these
that question. Now, I've always tipped. I on whatever the bill is, even when we've been comped meals, I know Bear does too. You always tip because, and I over tip because the server has nothing to do with.
That's exactly it. The server has no part in whatever deal you made with the company of any nature. So it's not like they're taking a piece or responsible for that deal that you guys have put together. They do deserve to be treated right for their service.
Now, she had said, the woman that owns the blog, the name of the blog is, it's a fashion blog, actually.
Yeah, that's Diane Konstad.
Excellent. Let's see. Can we bring her on?
Guest in?
Oh, she said she's on. So when she's on, can we bring her in?
Yeah.
Perfect. Just pop her in. Now, what's the name of the Fashion Digest? Yeah, he's saying she's not on.
Her name's Diane Konstad again, and she does run the social media.
I think she's not there yet. Okay. Well, as soon as she's on, let's bring her in. So that to me is where the crux of the question is, is if something says in exchange, and this is from the owner, that's what it means.
Apparently she has to hit the enter studio.
Okay, so Lex, tell her to hit the enter studio. So she's having some difficulty with the tech.
Back there.
So that to me is where it is. But the question then becomes, okay, I personally have always tipped. She said she wasn't comfortable with how she was being treated and she just wanted out of there, which I do not blame her if someone's flipping out on me.
And from the aftermath, it does seem like the owner has been flipping out. And then Diana wrote her reviews, and that made the situation even worse because now the owner's trying to mobilize her local community to kind of throw a lot of hate towards her. In fact, she's even talking about experiencing a lot of hate and was concerned about the comments and the like people accosting her on her social media.
Well, even coming on this show, she was concerned about it because she was worried about the haters coming on. And I don't blame her if you're being attacked like that. So I think the question is, do I think they both handled it well? No. Do I think it was very clear what she was saying? Yes.
Yeah.
Do I think it was clear for somebody outside the entertainment industry? I don't know.
Yeah.
But once the word exchange is in there, and that is what was put out by the owner.
Yeah, that was the owner's take on the situation. That was her words, not us mincing it or putting in our own summary. That was her take. That's what she told her people in a post about the situation. And I don't know. I think I kind of feel for both sides because if you don't understand what you're being talked to about,
I do understand. I do feel bad for the owner in that she didn't understand. Fine, let's assume she didn't. Okay, this is a legitimate person with a legitimate blog. This is not San Francisco. And by the way, shout out to the one with that 15,000 where the owner went after her.
A lot more now. That's for damn sure.
Where the owner went after her. You can't make a deal and then change it. You really can't. But as far as this goes, this to me sounds like poor communication and then very poor business management, because this woman came in with a recognized author. This isn't somebody that came in with 80 people and a big party and blah blah blah. They came in, they tried a bunch of different things so they could review it, as you do. If you watch any channels where somebody's being comped food bloggers, you'll notice they do multiple menu items.
A ton of menu items, because the whole point is to show it off.
Exactly. And so they'll go in and they'll try multiple things so they can push this blog. This is somebody with a huge blog and a huge, well, I wouldn't say huge, but I'd say large blog. This is somebody who, by standard, the term we would use is micro-influencer, which means 50,000 or more, but probably less than a couple of 100,000, but more than worth it to a local restaurant, because she has numbers in those areas.
It's going to be the local community that's following them at that point.
Exactly.
It hasn't branched out.
Exactly. And so it really is a valuable marketing tool. Now, I think a lot of people have taken advantage of influencer marketing. I do not think this is one of those cases.
No, but I think there's also a general amount of dislike and distrust of influencers in today's day and age.
That's because so many of you are douchebags.
And so it immediately hits like, oh, here's a situation like this where I believe while both sides are kind of at each other, it came from a misunderstanding. But now that it's out in the public, it's on social media, people can be very, I don't want to say vitriolic,
they're very anti-influencer these days.
Yes. And so it immediately goes to the side of the restaurant, unless there's some type of video or evidence, or really who gets out there with the story first. I mean, imagine if the restaurant owner from that lady with the 15,000 had come out and said, hey, this woman showed up. She was not.
He did. That's what got him shut down.
I believe she had first though with her story.
She did. What's he saying?
Diane is actually we have Diane Konstad with us now. Can we please bring her on the show?
Hi, how are you?
Hello. How are you doing?
Very good. I'm sorry I missed some of your segment. It was very interesting.
Well,
about what happened.
I hope you missed the part about Jackie Chan. Other than that, good. So we were talking and we were kind of going through, looking at the owner's words, looking at your words. From your perspective, can you tell everyone, first of all, a little bit about yourself, your blog, and then what happened?
Sure. So everyone's calling me an influencer. I'm really a content creator. I am a person who shares quality content.
I will give you that. Your stuff is good. I've been on your really good, and I like fashion.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I do have to say, I do work on each and every one, and that I promise to cover, and I'm very pure on that. And I take my time. Sometimes I'm too detailed where it takes forever, but I go to events to see products, to go to restaurants and review them, tech, everything live and personable. I go and I show, and I don't really speak much. I have interviews. I don't really put myself on the camera much. And it's just ironic that I'm doing it now, but I want to just clarify what's going on. And thank you for giving me this setting to do so.
Of course.
Since it has always been where the restaurant has reached out to platforms, so they actually had the first opportunity to speak on this, and I never had that opportunity. So I have to tell you, I was a little shocked, but it's just as far as I'm also I write articles. I have an online publication. So it is more of a reporting on products. It's interviewing designers. It's interviewing the product CES, where you go there and you interview the chemistry of the new skincare and what the trend is, and it's just really like boots on reporting. And restaurants, I just love them too. They're actually very artistic for me. My background is I went to the Jazz New School for Parsons, and I'm a songwriter. I'm not meaning to plug myself, but
please plug yourself.
For me, this was just very artistic and creative, and I have a little bit of energy, so it's for me to go out.
Oh, we seem to have cut out
to aesthetic it's pleasing to see new products. You can hear me, right? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was just it's just aesthetically pleasing. I love it. Um and that's what I do. I've been doing it for 8 years. I've been covering restaurants for it's newer for about 5 years, but I would have to say I have 1,100 posts, and a lot of them are restaurants. So I've been doing this for a really long time, and I do work with PR, public relations, and I'm legit. I'm legit. Thank you for asking from where I
You
stand.
definitely are legit. There is a reason we're trying to separate, because people are actually lumping this situation in with the 15,000, which is ironic because in that
Yes.
case, everyone was on the side of the content creator influencer versus the restaurant. But here, everyone is really going after you. And
Yes.
what caught me was even the owner used the term exchange. So I'm very, very, very kind of stumped there. And I can say, okay, maybe they misunderstood. I'm going to give the owner the benefit of the doubt. They misunderstood. That doesn't excuse the behavior, the rudeness, or the discomfort. And it certainly doesn't. If I was them, I
Thank
wouldn't
you.
have made a scene in my own establishment. But even still, there is a level of professionalism that you expect. So we have reached out to them for comment. Of course, they have not responded. But in your case, you've gone to multiple restaurants. You've done this multiple times. Even if on their end it was inexperience, the fact that there was the term exchange used on their end from them, that's what really catches me. You've been to quite a few places. You've done this quite a few times. Many content creators do that. I know we get invited all over the place. It's very, very common. In your case, you had gone there with an author. What was your reaction and your feeling on that situation when you got there?
Sure. So the text started with, I'm going to go to New Orleans. I want to do an article on New Orleans, the food, the entertainment, the jazz. And I feel I can do reviews on this. Burlesque. I actually sang in 2 burlesque shows in my 20s. So I know a little bit of, me too. And I know a little bit about all of this. I actually went with, my guest is Jim Frazier, who's an author and editor, and he actually wrote The Latin Quarter, and he also wrote The Garden District of New Orleans. He actually was with me. We walked into a bookstore just to show me, and someone just bought a book. I don't know how often that happens, but it happened. I had the video on it. I didn't share my videos yet because I don't want, I want this
You don't want it overshadowed.
Either, yeah. And so what PR reaches out to me as well. And I chose 2 weeks prior to going to this restaurant, I chose them for the entertainment value as well, and the food. And the text was, I see, maybe it's different in New York. Is there compensation? To me, that's, are you paying me?
Yes.
So I wrote back, no, you're not paying me, just food and drinks to review. Yes, it could have been unclear. I don't know how they've had the business. I know Andrew's had business before that for years.
I don't know how it could be unclear to me.
Yeah.
Again, that isn't unclear. But if we give the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, let's say it was unclear.
Yeah.
I don't think it was, but let's say it was.
Okay. So that's right. Thank you. That's
still
the
doesn't
first
excuse the behavior.
Right. And there's such a thing as called an interceptive move. And there was many times that this wouldn't have become an incident. I called the restaurant because I'm a professional, and I said, I'm late because my plane. I mean, I flew in. That was the first place I went to. And I was, an hour and a half pumping oil. It spilled on the runway. I called, and now I know it was Andrew, because I know how he speaks now, so I knew it was him. I didn't know it was him then. I asked if I can come in, 2 hours later, will there still be a show? He said, fortunately, there's a show at 10. Sure. I said, great, I'll be there. Can't wait to review. Came in, no one was there. He knew the time I made. He knew that I was coming there for sure. And I had said to the hostess, I'm Diane Konstad, the reviewer. I'm here. I have a different time. And I talk a lot. So I talked about the plane of what happened. And she said, fine, have a seat. The waitress was nice. We spoke to her when Jim was asking about, the history of the when they had the bar and the restaurant and the cabaret. All that was getting information from the server. And for 2 hours, I mean, we sat there for a long time, and which we like to do. And doing food reviews and reels and all that takes a while. It takes a lot. I mean, my food gets cold sometimes
For
by the
those
time
that
that
don't know,
I'm
in
ready.
the audience, you have to stop eating, take the picture. You have to review each
Right.
plate. Usually you get multiple plates because you're having to go through them.
Right.
It's wonderful work because it's delicious, but you're usually not getting a hot meal.
No, and sometimes my guests are like kind of frustrated with me. Are you done? Please hold the light. And so what happened is, I felt it was a little bizarre that no one came to the table, but I felt maybe no one was here. Maybe there wasn't anyone here. I don't ever ask for anyone to come to the table. I just
So
don't do
to
that.
the audience, what
Right.
usually
Yeah.
happens when you have a guest in is either the owner or the manager will come over, say thank you very much for coming. They'll suggest the dishes they want you to try because they know they're the best, so you review them. There is actually a protocol to this.
There is a perfect word. And the other part to the protocol is, if there is a food limit, a restaurant will let you know. Before you order, they will say, oh, it's an appetizer and an entree and
Yeah.
2 drinks minimum. And I was only told that there was a limit order when the server said, here's your bill. And I said, my bill, and then she said, the dessert is comped. And I was like, well, if the dessert was comped, and Jim Frazier said that he can vouch for me, he would be willing to. If I've never gone anywhere where dessert was just comped. So that's what made it even more confusing.
So
They
they
never
obviously
texted
knew
me.
who you were. They understood that they
Yes.
were supposed to comp something, and then rather than having any discussion, just went, here's the dessert.
He after I ordered,
After the fact, yeah.
after I ordered, and just to say, when I had said that to Blue about, is 300 a lot, that means that when influencers and content creators, sometimes I'm an influencer, but mostly content creator, come in, restaurants want to give food out to be reviewed for reels.
Yeah.
They want more content.
They want the viral response. I will say, if you got 40 followers, do not reach out for this. It's not going to work well for you. But if you have a legit blog or business, this is something you do. People pay a fair amount of money to be reviewed. And the fact that you aren't charging is also so that you can give a more fair review. And I'm telling that to the audience.
Less biased.
People that charge, if you charge, you are expected to give the review they want. If you are just being comped, you give an honest review. It's the same thing we were saying earlier with Bear when they send him product. He tells them, no, I'm not charging you for this, but I'll give an honest review.
Right. Correct. And I, at that point, so with just to go more into a little bit of restaurant content creating, restaurants, even more now, I mean, everything is there's a lot of inflation. People want to really enjoy themselves. They're spending a lot of money out. And again, $300. It was 2 cocktails, including, because they like specialty cocktails to talk about as well, and they're like $22. So I mean, it was alcohol too. It was two drinks each, two wines, but it was 2 hours, and so we wanted to taste not the highest, but what they said that they value as far as what's popular there. But the thing with restaurants is, and I just want to say that even though this restaurant left a very bad taste and I will go into what will happen. But I just want to say for all restaurants, I realize it's really hard out there. And, money is tighter. Inflation is crazy.
But
And
that's usually why they're fighting over getting the influencers.
yeah,
We are constantly turning down people that want bear to come out,
yeah,
unfortunately. So in today's economy, and I'm going to tell this to people out there, my specialty is marketing and embedded advertising.
yeah,
I work in film and television. The absolute cheapest marketing you can get is having an influencer out to dinner. That is the cheapest marketing you're going to get. It's cheaper than flyering. It's cheaper than anything. And if that person has a following in your region, that is the most beneficial.
And that's why it's so popular.
That is why it's so popular. Now, there are some scumbags that take advantage of it for sure.
And they don't write or do anything. Correct.
No,
but they get found out. They get found
very
out
quickly.
Yeah. You have a reputation to this. That's why I'm upset. I have a reputation to this. I work with people. And the thing with me is, when I cover restaurants are all such different animals. They all have different energy. I mean, I'll go to a restaurant and want to sit at a certain spot because I feel the energy. They all have, the chefs are passionate. The chefs are like, they're rock stars in the kitchen. I mean, I know rock and roll players, and they are a lot like them. They are very like passionate. They enjoy it when you like their food. They will bring out.
Only have about 10 minutes left. I know we missed most of having you on. I'd like to have you on again and go through this. But if you can tell everyone what happened so they get an actual review, a response, because I know they've been out there using this for clout. They have been literally trying to stir up and take audience away from you. And shout out to them. If you can do that and you can pull an audience that way, go for it. Just be honest. Always be honest. Good or bad, be honest.
So that's what happened is in the first part of it. And I just really feel this wouldn't have happened if they were professional. If they came to the table, if they respected the fact that I was even there. It was kind of, can you see me?
We can. Sorry. It's just a bit of an unstable connection on your end. It's fine.
Okay. I found out later that Andrew was on the floor and there were 5 tables. So I didn't see the reason why he didn't come over to me. And if he felt that, he's going to let me know about the dessert, if he felt that, influencers and content creators come in and they do get the food to, review, if he felt that the chef didn't even come out, introduce himself. So they come out, introduce themselves, and then I'll ask, can I please do a little video of you with your favorite plates, where your source, what's your inventions? And it's so much fun to do that because they're I think that restaurant owners and chefs are very, very into it. They love what they do.
Absolutely.
I love to get it. So I'm going to say restaurants are not like this.
No, this is very uncommon.
Many.
Would you tell us what happened next?
Sure. So what happened after is they said that show the text, and I said, well, this is what I thought, and I, from the text, and I don't know why no one came over and spoke with me or anything. And he said, Blue is upstairs, dancing. I get that, but he was on the floor. So I said, well, we could have taken care of this earlier before I ordered and did all the work. And he said, whatever, just tip. And then, he was like I don't know, he's very, he was yelling. I'm not going to do what he did. I'm not going to say all he did. I'm not going to do that far. I'm not doing. But it was kind of scary for us. He's an older man, and me. I'm not a great fighter like you. So it was kind of, scary. People were like on us, and I couldn't really focus. And he said, get out. And the waitress held the door open for us. He said, get out. Not the same way I said, get out.
Yeah.
So we walked out. We were standing there kind of dazed, but what was going on, in shock. I was so embarrassed with my guest. I would never fly anywhere to take advantage of a restaurant. So I left.
I often wonder I'm going to pause
Yeah.
this for 1 sec. I
Sure.
wonder, outrage marketing, look at Bonnie Blue. She doesn't sell, corn. What she sells is outrage. Outrage marketing is the new currency. I don't know if you made a deal with the owner and then this other owner had a problem with it. I don't know if what he was looking for was outrage marketing. If he did it right because he got a lot of attention for it. The problem is, I'm wondering, because a lot of people are doing this now, where they intentionally start this conflict with influencers for attention.
Right.
I'm
Well,
very curious if that's the
right, because he kept saying to me, it's summer, it's slow. So it's as if he wanted he wanted also, I think in a way he was like, order what you want. At the end, you're gonna have to pay for it. That's that. That's
I
what
don't
he
know.
felt.
That's
Right.
and that's it. And so on my end, I feel he may have, you shouldn't put in the work if he's taking advantage. If he feels, that way, he should have had a conversation. But the fact that the word was used exchange by the other owner, they knew what was going on, at least to my mind.
Right.
We are at the end of the show. Can you tell everyone where to follow you and where to find your fashion?
Oh,
content?
yes. So follow me. By the way, the restaurant is, a lot of people are scared to go in the restaurant after what's going on.
What is the name of it? We've pronounced it wrong 4 times. I'll take responsibility.
So the restaurant?
Yes. What is the name of it? I could not pronounce it.
It's
I'm
from
not
it's
even-
from the puppets. It's from the puppet, and the puppet is supposed to be a scammer. It's from the puppet of the 1700s.
Gotcha.
And that's
So
what,
that is
what
the
they
name of
named
the
it from.
restaurant. Guys,
Yes.
if you got it, I'm not saying do not start trouble with them. Do not start trouble with her. Sometimes people just disagree. My only concern is I really hope this isn't them pushing into outrage marketing, because that's what they're looking for.
Well, here's what I'm doing now. I'm going to have, I'm producing a show called The Real Influencer of New York, because people seem very interested in how it works. And it's not a good light. And I want to show what really goes. It's a lot of work. It is a lot of walking around. It's a lot of boots to the ground. It's a lot of work. And
Great work. Lot,
yeah, a lot. Yes. It's better
We're
when
at
you're
the end. Where can everyone find you?
You can find me at Instagram at Fashions Digest, TikTok at Fashions Digest, and on my online publication, fashionsdigest.com.
Now, I'd love to have you on again, because I really would like to dissect this. I know we didn't get a lot of time to do that.
I didn't get to ask any of my questions.
I know you didn't get to ask any of your questions. We'll have her on again.
All right.
Okay.
I'd love to. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you very,
Thank
very
you.
much for joining us. Guys, like I said, there's always a couple of sides to every story. That is my concern, though. I do think a lot of these businesses are trying to move into outrage marketing because they've watched how it's worked for other people. Once the word exchange is in there, that's what I can't get past.
Yeah, you have to expect some else amount of service. And I don't agree that the whole dessert situation would have been the understanding from the beginning. If anything, in my brain,
It seems like you put a bait and switch.
Very much so. And was hoping she would accept it, just pay it, and then still post it, because she already went through the effort of making the videos and the content.
Points to her, by the way. She seems very, very timid, very sweet, but very timid. So for her to actually stand there and deal with it rather than get pushed around, I'm impressed.
Yeah, I'm very happy that she didn't pay for the meal.
Yep, so am I. All right, we'll be talking about this again on the show. Tell us what you think, and whoever gives us the best answer gets a free ride at Off-Road Rentals. See that embedded marketing and influencer stuff at Off-Road Rentals in Palm Springs, California. And Bear has a free trip for coming out for someone to California. I don't know if we've announced that yet, but we'll let you know. I'm the Baroness. We are on with my co-host, Bear Fiorda. I got to go to Vegas. See you next week. Good night.
This has been Behind the Scenes with the Baroness and Bear Fiorda. Only on Talk 4 Media.